Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we will be learning about Terraform. It is a very important tool for us to deploy any infrastructure, provision new infrastructure, and usually Terraform can be used with Ansible where we can deploy our infrastructure using Terraform and configure those infrastructure using Ansible. So this can be very helpful because it saves us a lot of time as well as it also helps us to deploy a very robust application where we have the code that can be shared among teams and where there is a visibility of all the aspect of our infrastructure like networking storage so that in general our infrastructure is very well guarded and very robust. So that is the advantage of Terraform. So without any further ado, let us get started. So I'm in my EC2 console. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to install Terraform, and which is very straightforward. And I also prefer installing Terraform as well as AWS CLI on my instance since I'm using AWS as my provider. So that is one thing we will see, and we will deploy one EC2 instance, and then we will see how we can deploy resources, we can see the state, and then we can destroy those resources. So those are a couple of things we'll go ahead and do. All right. So let us first start by launching one instance. Very simple, and we have done this many times, so I think you should be very confident doing this. So let me name this Terraform user 2, Terraform user deployment. So let me do this Terraform user deployment, and I'm going to use Ubuntu machine and T2 micro. This should be good enough. And for me, I already have a key pair, so I'm going to use the same key pair that I have. But if you have anything else, you can make use of uh, you can create a new key pair from here. And then on my security group, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a security group, all traffic from anywhere. And simply these are the configuration I need, and I'm gonna launch my instance. So let me launch my instance. While I do that, I will also make sure I will SSH into the instance. So I have a couple of instances. These were some of the instances I was trying earlier. So let us wait for this instance to get ready. Okay, so my instance is up and running. So I'll simply go ahead and hit the connect SSH client. I'll copy this link, and from my git bash I'll go into the downloads where I have my key. So I'm already in my download, so I'm just gonna paste my key, yes, and as easy as that I'm logged into my instance. So now once I'm into my instance, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna install Terraform. So I'm gonna run this curl command, and I'm gonna put this command in the video section, so you'll find all these scripts there. So I'm gonna copy this. So this is a Ubuntu machine. So I'm gonna paste. So this is for the AWS CLI. So and then apt install unzip. So okay, okay, the unzip sudo apt. So now install unzip. So I installed the unzip, and after I install this one, I'm gonna unzip my AWS CLI. Okay, and then I'm gonna do okay. So now if I check for my AWS version, all right, so now next step, let me go ahead and install Terraform. So I'm just gonna type in install Terraform Ubuntu, and it should be the hashicorp. So this is for my Linux machine. So for my Ubuntu, okay, and here you go. Okay, so now this is Terraform version. All right, so I have Terraform version 1.45, and I'm going to add these commands on the video link, so you should be able to find this in the video link below. So now we do have our AWS CLI and Terraform installed. So the next task is I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the way Terraform works, how the files, configuration files are organized, and then we'll go ahead and deploy our first Terraform script quickly. And Terraform is pretty straightforward. So from my understanding, it has two different components, right? So the core and the provider. So there are so many different provider available for the Terraform, but we'll be using AWS as our provider. So the core is which is written in Go, and this is um, this is through which the CLI actually connects with the provider. So we write all of the files, and the file structure ends with this TF extension, which means Terraform. So you will have different file. For example, you can have something like main.tf where you define all your resources, and within your resources you might have like variables.tf where you can have different variable used for different resources, and you might have providers.tf if you are using different providers. But if you are using only one provider, you can also add the provider in the main.tf file. And also there could be terraform dot tfvar. So these are for the variable that you want to use for your resources, and we'll see this. So these are defining your variables for different resources, and you might also have outputs.tf which will give you the outputs. For example, if you are using different secrets, you can put them in the output. You can see those. So these are some of the components that are used in our Terraform configuration. So these are some of the configuration files that are commonly used. So please keep this in mind.